The bombard is a cannon or mortar used in medieval times. It was a large-caliber, muzzle-loading artillery piece mainly used during sieges to throw stone balls at opponents' walls. The primary use was to break down the walls of the enemy so the army could get to them. Most bombards were made of iron and used gunpowder to launch the projectile through the air. There are many examples of bombards, including Mont's Meg, the Dardanelles guns, and the handheld bombard. Larger bombards are sometimes included in the family of superguns. They were used throughout the Middle Ages and the early modern period. The weapon provided the name to the Royal Artillery rank of bombardier and the word bombardment. History of bombards. The oldest representation of a bombard can be found in the Chinese town of Tasu. In 1985, Robin Yates was visiting Buddhist cave temples when he saw a sculpture on the wall depicting a demon holding a handheld bombard. The muzzle seems to have a blast and flames coming from it, which some believe is proof of some type of supergun. Yates examined the cave and believed the drawings dated back to the late 12th century. The vaso, shown by Walter de mm, usually dated to 1327, and shows a mailed knight firing a brass firepot. However, the armor shown appears anachronistic for 1327, and the image may actually be a copy of a lost 12th century image. England certainly began using cannons in the early 14th century. Field artillery was deployed by King Edward III at the Battle of Crécy in 1346, but equipment which may have been an artillery piece was listed as captured on a French ship by the English at Sluys as early as 1340. Inverted keyhole gun loops at Bodiam Castle, Cooling Castle and Westgate, Canterbury have all been identified as for firing heavy handguns. These defences are dated 1380 to 1385. Initially used as defensive weapons, primitive bombards began to be used as siege weapons in the later 14th century. Henry IV, Henry V, and James II won battles with the use of bombards. Henry V captured Harfleur with bombards in 1415. King Henry's army later came under artillery fire at the Battle of Agincourt. James II destroyed many castles with his 1.5-ton cannon named the Lion. The French reconquest of their kingdom from English control saw the use of considerable French artillery in the siege role. The French in this period preferred to avoid attacking English longbowmen in open battle and relied on siege and reconquest by siege tactics. However, the last battle of the 100 Years' War saw English commander John Talbot lead an Anglo-Gascon army against dug-in French troops equipped with 300 pieces of artillery at the Battle of Castillon in 1453. The French camp had been laid out by Ordnance Officer Jean Bureau to maximize the French artillery arm. The Anglo-Gascons were shot to pieces and Talbot was eventually killed. Most bombards started with the construction of a wooden core surrounded by iron bars. Then, iron hoops were driven over these bars in order to surround and cover them. The whole structure was then welded with a hammer while it was still hot at about 1,300 degrees Celsius. The rings then subsequently cooled and formed over the bars to secure them. The last step was to incinerate the wooden core and to attach a one-piece cast. The complicated procedure required a highly skilled forge who could work quickly and precisely with a hammer. Notable examples. A notable example of a bombard is the large Mont's Meg weapon, built around 1449 and used by King James II of Scotland. It was very powerful and used for bringing down castle walls. The origins of the Mont's Meg are not fully known, but according to Philip the Good, Duke of Burgundy, it was his idea. It was ordered around 1449 and had similar construction to a typical bombard. However, the Mont's Meg was seldom used because of several factors. First of all, it was incredibly hard to transfer because it could not be disassembled and additional frames were needed to keep it steady during battle. These frames were not reliable and also very dangerous, claiming 2 deaths in the defence of Edinburgh when it was being set. Mont's Meg was capable of firing 180 kg shots and was one of the largest bombards in its time. It is now housed on public display at Edinburgh Castle. A bombard with a bore of approx 12 inches was found when the moat of Edinburgh Castle, Kent, was drained. A muzzle loader of hoop and stave construction, it is believed to be the oldest piece found in England and may be late 14th or very early 15th century. It was possibly dumped in the moat following an abortive siege at the castle during the Wars of the Roses. The original is now at the Royal Artillery Museum at Woolwich, but a copy has been on show at the castle for many years. The Star Gun Company has built a Bodiam Bombard replica, while local newspapers report a replica was being fired at the castle for visitors during 2012. Other known 15th-century superguns include the wrought iron Bombard von Stier and Ullagriet, as well as the cast bronze Fallmeter, Fallgreta, and Grossboxer. The Tsar cannon is a late 16th-century showpiece. The Dardanelles guns, built in the Ottoman Empire in 1464 by Munir Ali, with a weight of 18.6 t and a length of 518 centimeters, was capable of firing stone balls of up to 63 centimeters diameter. Eventually bombards were superseded by weapons using smaller caliber iron projectiles fired from longer barrels with more powerful gunpowder. Gallery Hand Bombard, 1390 to 1400. 200 kg wrought iron bombard, circa 1450 Metz, France. It was manufactured by forging together iron bars, held in place by iron rings. It fired 6 kg stone balls. Length, 82 cm. The Dardanelles gun. Mont's Meg at Edinburgh Castle, mid-15 THC. Mont's Meg cannonballs. English bombards abandoned during the 100 Years' War and now exposed on the Mont St. Michel.